Hi everyone, I guess I'm live. Hi, happy Sunday. So I wanted to jump on here and I will be downloading this video over to Mella's vlog. And I keep seeing things on TikTok saying that TikTok is going to be banned. And so that's breaking my heart because I love my TikTok community. And so I'm going to put that camera on a beautiful cup and coffee. Yeah, you know, I guess if the if TikTok is banned, this is my feeling, this is what I think is going to happen. I think as intelligent, it seems to me many other nations are way ahead of us. So I think that they, like the owners of TikTok, will probably have a backup plan. Like maybe we would be able to join them if they're based in their own country or something. I'm just thinking, sorry, I just as a fly. Anyway, I'm just thinking that that TikTok realizes, like the owners of it realize how valuable of a tool this is for communication, especially regarding the United States right now and its political status. I'm betting, and I hope if they hear this, and they do, because they are very quick to cue in on the videos, especially if you're mentioning TikTok. But I think TikTok would come up with a way to keep its base and maybe just relocate it. So the United States would not be able to tell us, you and me, if we can be on, or if this platform can even exist. So the platform, if the owners of TikTok are as smart as I believe that they are, they'll probably figure out how to move the base and let our membership stay active and then let other people join. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I would do if I was the owner. Just saying. I hopped on here today because I want to share with you an article, and we're going to go in the other room after I get cream in this coffee, but it's on aliens, and it's only written 2 days ago, this article. So I was, and I also have another article that I want to share with you on endangered species that are reviving and coming back. But I may do 2 TikToks today because of that. So let me get the cream for my coffee, but yeah, that's, I mean, what do you think? Do you think that, and would you like to see TikTok relocate their base, get a license elsewhere, get permission, maybe over in London, maybe they'll let them do it there, and then let us as members, you know, continue to be members, and then other people get to join. Sorry, I do this with the cream. I'm adding a little bit at a time, and you can hear, you know why it's so clingy? Because this is porcelain. No, this is bone china, and I don't even know what bone china is, but it's bone china. I got it at the thrift shop. As you know, this cost $1, and it's worth like $32. So we're gonna go read that article on the aliens, and so what I had planned to do, just to let you know, is hopefully I can carry this over. What I had planned to do is do a live video on my YouTube channel called Mella's Vlog. But I don't have enough subscribers yet, and this type of, because over there, when I get enough subscribers, what I'm going to do is start doing like this, start covering these really interesting articles, and basically covering our Earth, wildlife, and humanity. And I do believe that this alien thing going on, and that's not what this article is about, but there is apparently some craft heading in out of space, and they think it's, not like of natural thing. It's not a natural like meteor or something like that. So this article is, let's see if I can put this on here. If that's gonna work. No, it's not the light. It's okay. I can talk to you. This way I can see you and see if you have any questions. Hi, how are you? Hi, thank you for being here. I'm trying to see your names. I'm having a hard time. Kristen, Novia, hi. And thank you for being with me today. You make my day. You make my day. So, okay. This is by the Daily Mail. They have like 1.9 million followers, so a lot of people have already read this, but I'm bringing it to you. The article is by Stacy Liberatore, okay? And it was written 2 days ago, and the title is UFO Whistleblower Reveals 4 Types of Aliens the U.S. government knows about. So you hear this more and more. You hear more and more people, you hear more and more people directly from the government sharing. And most of them are well into retirement. Actually, many of them know that they're like so old that, they're closer to the other side. And then they go on and they share stuff. I'm just saying. So I'm going to read this and then stop in between. If you have any questions, let me know. So a recent Capitol Hill hearing has reignited debate over the unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAPs, that's what they're calling them, right? And the possibility of extraterrestrial life. In May, UAP briefing physicist Dr. Eric Davis, known for his work on top-secret Pentagon projects, stunned listeners by referencing alleged alien species. Greys, Nordics, listen to this, insectoids. Okay, I have not heard that one. I'm sorry, just saying. And reptilians. I've heard that one. Not happy about that one. As potential operators or unidentified craft. So Davis described these entities as humanoid, approximately human size, and possibly linked to classified reverse engineering programs. So in other words, when they get their crafts, they're not giving the crafts back. The only thing I could think of that bothers me about that whole thing, so there is a case in the late 1800s, and this is true, all of the people in the town testified to the fact there was a little alien, I guess a craft had fallen. This was late 1800s. In America, the craft had crashed, the little alien passed away. The person in town who handled this alien passed away like 10, 14 days later of all kinds of viruses. Like he was inundated. It's a fact. The story is true. I'll have to get the information for you on that one. But, so that was late 1800s. So what happened is, at some point in the 1900s, the town well before this, the town had put a little, tombstone up for the alien. And they weren't all freaked out about the fact it was an alien. They realized that this little creature had come from another planet, and they put the tombstone there. And then some people at that time, and they believe from the government, this was in the 1900s, came along, dug it up, took it. And everything from there started to get secretive. And so too bad, isn't that a shame? Because we as citizens were looking to handle things in a more, maybe they got involved because the guy who handled them, yes, passed away of all these viruses. I get that for health reasons, safety reasons, but at least keep the transparency, keep the communication going. So anyway, this is what they're talking about. Classify reverse engineering programs. They somehow got the crafts and studied them. So Missouri Representative Eric Burlinson, a member of House Oversight Committee and UAP caucus, prompted the discussion revealing the endless void with Kristen Fisher. I don't know what the endless void is. Revealing on, it's in capitals, so it must be maybe a paper or a book. And with Kristen Fisher, that he had heard the same 4 classifications. Okay, I've heard the 4 classifications discussed in the meetings, Burlinson said, but what I wasn't expecting was for him to say it. I wasn't expecting Eric Davis, respected scientist, to say that. Burlinson, a self-described skeptic, admitted uncertainty about Davis's sources, noting the physicist's comment may stem from the first-hand knowledge or second-hand reports. So first-hand knowledge or second-hand reports. What are the second-hand reports? If you or I see an alien and we describe it, are we second-hand? I mean, what is second-hand? Because seriously, is first-hand only from an agency? Okay, so I mean, they're not very clear there, but this is just a little article from the Daily Mail. So, if true, this would be a paradigm-shifting moment, Burlinson said. But if it is true, the government has, and this is highlighted, no right to keep such a secret from the public it serves. And this is true. Do you agree? I mean, do any of you agree with that? I used to be on the fence when I was younger about this because I was like, well, maybe they're handling the communication, maybe they're managing it, maybe there is something that would frighten us very, very much as a society. I don't know. Now I'm like, bring it on, because you know what? It's been too many years that people are reporting themselves as abductees. And personally, I will tell you, as a psychology major with a number of degrees, that seriously, that could be an undercover government thing going on. It could. It could be one of those experiments like they did in the 1950s. Now, on the other hand, it could be one of these species that they're talking about. So I think the transparency and the communication is super important. So let's see, the article goes on. The concept of grays as a popular alien archetype took hold in the mid-1960s, largely due to the famous Betty and Barney Hill. We know about that case, Betty and Barney Hill abduction case. And both of these, this couple was extremely well educated, and here they are coming back from a vacation. I mean, and she had evidence on her clothing that was torn. So you bet forensics has something on that. You know what I mean? They took the torn dress. Like, I don't think Betty Hill kept it. Like, you tell me, maybe, because there is a book out on it. I haven't read it, but I haven't read it because the story is repeated all over YouTube and, different movies. And I mean, so the couple described being taken by small humanoids with smooth gray skin, large black almond eyes, and lacking typical human features like a nose and ears. Now, they go to the next paragraph, they go talking about the next type of alien. The Nordics are described as tall, slender beings resembling Scandinavian humans with blonde hair, blue eyes, and fair skin. So I was listening to a YouTube, boy, this guy is famous now, in Hall, I want to say. Hall's theory, his theory wrote a book. His last name is Hall. I'm trying to think of his first. It was about way back in the 60s, 70s. He was working for the government on Area 51. And he experienced firsthand what the Nordics look like. So it's on the YouTube platform. It's probably on other platforms. But he says that the Nordics did not just have blonde hair. Because there's some lady, I don't know where she is, and in some country, I think she's in Sweden, but she's claiming to be a Nordic. And he looked at the picture on YouTube and he goes, that's not a Nordic. He goes, he says the hair is very, very thin on Nordics and very, very white. So I get the feeling they're like albinos, but he wasn't using that word because he was saying that their skin was pale white. And their eyes, when he looked at her eyes, she has very big eyes, but he said when he looked at the eyes wrap a little bit onto the side of the head. So he looked at the picture and he goes, that's not a Nordic. Now you and I look at the picture and we go, oh my God, that's a Nordic. But he had seen them firsthand, so he knows. And his last name is Hall. Look him up on YouTube. So anyway, now the next one they present is the Pleiades. So often linked to the Pleiades star cluster, these entities, oh, I guess he's still talking about the Nordics, sorry. These entities are said to possess advanced technology and peaceful intentions. So that's good to know. Featuring prominently in 1950s contactee and UFO lore. Now, they don't say much on each of these, okay? And this next one gives me the willies because I have never heard of this type of alien. You tell me if you have. So this is called insectoids. Insectoids, meanwhile, have been part of an alien mythology since at least the early 1900s. That's not long at all. The Native Americans will tell you that Bigfoot and the aliens have been around for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, living and visiting in peace. But this 1900s insectoids, where did this come from? With roots tracing back to Georges Méliès's film, a film, 1902 film, called A Trip to the Moon. So I haven't heard of that film, but it's a 1902 film. So guess what? There's no sound to it. Probably, I'm guessing. There's no sound in 1900s, right? When did sound come in? Do any of you know? Hi, Wilbur. How are you? And Naya and Big Money 2244 and Christopher. How is everyone today? Do any of you know this movie, A Trip to the Moon? Okay, so these beings, these insectoids, I'm going to tell you my concern about this one after, but these beings exhibit insect-like traits, such as multiple limbs. Oh my God, I have the willies, seriously, don't you? Exoskeletons, mandibles, and sometimes antennae. So the thing about the insectoids is this. Right now, our own tiny little insects on this earth aliens probably want something from us, the data, or they either want to study us or kill us. I mean, it's not funny at all, but they could want something. And one perspective that Hall, on this, his last name is Hall, Hall, that he shared the idea he got is they just wanted to visit, almost like vacay. Like, seriously, that's how he was talking. He's like, they just want to come to Earth, and yes, they want to be in the sun and get the vitamin D. They want to, but they go back. So, according to him, this was his suggestion, and he did write a book, so I bet it's in there. But he said too, he thought it was more of a undercover agency that is doing these abductee things. So I have to agree with him on that, because studying like I studied psychology, right? Studying all the experiments that have been done on humans by humans is crazy. You go back hundreds of years, even they were doing it. It's like, why are you doing this? But anyway, so now the next one is the reptilian theory. And the reptilian theory claims that shape-shifting reptilian aliens secretly control Earth. I hope that's not true, okay? Surged in popularity through conspiracy theorist David Icke. Oh yes, Icke. Have any of you heard of David Icke? He's pretty big in this area of aliens. So that was in the late 20th century. Interestingly, similar half-human, half-serpent figures appear in ancient South and Southeast Asian myths, such as Naga, Naga, N-A with a long A, G-A. But okay, so the reptilians, I did look at some videos on, like, because the whole past year, I just could not wrap my mind around what the heck a reptilian was and how it was even possible for them to shape shift. So this is the interesting part. A couple things I've learned before we continue here. And this might be the end of it, actually. Yeah, that's the end of the article. So a couple interesting things I learned on the YouTube channel, and I'm going to have to get the references to give them credits so you can go look. But so again, Hall, if you look his name up. In his interview, he's saying that the Nordics have learned, like, they are very sophisticated in technology. So they've learned to put a plate here in their head, right here. And this is weird that he's pointing to this area, because this is by nature our third eye, which we can do and utilize in so many ways. This is an energy field, okay, in the body and in chakra, and it's ancient knowledge right here. So he says that they put a plate of some kind here that's electronic and can hypnotize people very, very, very quickly, like in an instant, and do other things. So that's what Hall said that the Nordics have here. The reptilians, now I'm just assimilating information that I've gathered over the years, so I don't have anybody specific on this, but apparently the reptilians, and I may be getting it even from Hall, I'm not sure, but he talked mostly in Nordic and Grays. Those are the two he saw. But so the shape-shifting idea is this. They're not shape-shifting as much, apparently, as much as they are creating an illusion that, and and I don't know how they're doing that. I have not a clue. But they create some kind of an illusion. Now, the weird part is they say for people seeing them, but then you see them on TV. Now, they did show on some of these YouTubers showed very clear images, most recent, of some people where they did some fact checking, and the footage was original, was real. It was not tampered with, but they've actually caught just a few, but it is a few, where their eyes are kind of going, you know, like slits, like the, what is it, like an iguana, you know? Oh, a reptile. Sorry. So, but anyway, so I find this very, very interesting. And now I will tell you what makes me, it's unnerving to me, but and I put the story on TikTok. I want to say it was Brazil, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was just in the past couple years or so I want to say it was Brazil. But anyway, it was a tiny little village, and the people were being very, very frightened and being actually attacked, like with some kind of laser thing. And they were seeing what they thought was a non-human in the woods, in their little tiny village on an island. I can't remember where it is. But the military came in because this had happened to them before. This particular village is rich with some kind of a mineral that is extremely valuable. So guess what? The military found out these were not aliens. These were humans with the little jetpacks under their feet. They were rising up above the ground, just like the villagers said, but they were actually, damn it, like burning these people. Like they had this little burning gun or laser gun or something. They were attacking the village to try to get the people out. And these people thought they were aliens. So you have that kind of a thing going on. If there is an entity or organization that has a lot of money, these jetpacks are totally available. They may be expensive, but they work and they're available. That is very sad that that kind of thing is happening. Because in the late 1800s, when that little alien landed in this town in the United States, maybe I can look that up. I just want to see if I can get that information quickly, because it was 1800s. It was an alien found in the United States. Let's see if it gives it to us. Dallas Morning News, Aurora, Texas. Yes, that was it. The pilot's body was buried in a local cemetery. So I'm going to read this to you. 1897. Okay, so this is like a real story. This is before all of these undercover people start running in, and these people in black suits come and tell you better not say anything. So, April 1897, a story in Dallas Morning News reported on an alleged crash of the UFO in Aurora. I can't say that really. I can roll the R's and say it, but Texas. The newspaper article described the pilot as not of this world and claimed that the pilot's body was buried in the local cemetery. The incident is considered one of the earliest accounts of UFO crash and alien death in the United States. However, skeptics will argue, and they'll make you not believe it, but all the townspeople at that time did see it, witnessed it, and there was someone who passed away from touching it. So probably from the radiation, you know, the germs and all of that. So yeah, that's the one, Texas. So anyway, I would say, in my opinion, that crash, and there's a few other legit stories, maybe Roswell in 1948 or 9, around there. And then the lights over, you know, Sacramento, California there's a few real legit like incidents, and I would say Barney, but then wait, and then when you get to Barney and Betty Hill, I totally believe Betty and Barney Hill, totally. However, that to me, because that was in the 1960s, and I believe that 1950s and 60s there were these all these undercover experiments going on towards people. They were listening to people, and they were creating auditory like hallucinations around people and scaring people. And this was this undercover organization. So from there, you know, you get to the 1950s, and then you're like, okay, was it, you know, were they just riding on the coattails of, hey, maybe it's an alien? So, because according to Hall, the aliens, yeah, the theory just that humans, but more evolved because humans messed up life on Earth. Yeah, humans are not by any means respectful or mindful of the Earth, you know, of each other. I mean, it's astounding, because even Hall was saying in this interview that the Nordic aliens, he said the number one thing with them is they're very protective of their children. He says they wouldn't even think of having a war and putting their children at risk. And look at us on this world, look at us globally. I mean, really, look what's going on. Not only are they putting the children at risk, they're targeting the, yeah. We don't need to go into that. It's way too dark for me. I pray on it, because the position I'm in, and most of us are in, what is it that we can do except, yes, voice our, you know, our concerns, our opinions, ask our legislatures to please represent us adequately, and to protect us, because this is crazy stuff going on. Yeah, so Hall said that. He said that is the number one thing. The other thing he said I thought was super interesting is the length of time that aliens live. And when I thought about it for a little while, it made perfect sense, because he's giving what did he, like 800 years. He's given this length of time that's crazy. But it's crazy because we are living on in an atmosphere where the gravity is pulling on us pretty constantly. I'm betting, okay, I'm just saying I'm not a scientist, but you tell me, wouldn't you say that as we're destroying a lot of the Earth's particles with these bombing, and then the sonic bombs going on in the oceans, you know, so we're bombing the Earth, we're bombing the oceans, we're polluting the air, all of this stuff going on. Wouldn't you say that it exemplifies the pull of gravity on us? I'm just saying, not that time is speeding, because there's no such thing as time. However, within whatever is time, maybe the gravity is pulling quicker on us. I'm just saying, I mean, to me that would make sense, that there is such an effect on our environment. So you'll see when I just thinking of it, because I'm just like the articles I pulled up on how many animals right now, and I'll share with you next on the TikTok, but so many animals right now are being affected by this geomagnetic shift. Okay, the solar flares and the climate change, and coupled with the pollution. And then when we talk about, I mean, the article doesn't say this, but I'm just saying all this. When we talk about the islands of garbage, literally floating, like 620,000 square miles of garbage floating in the oceans, you've got to figure it's absolutely affecting the molecular, molecular rejuvenation. You know what I mean? The life of molecules as we speak. I mean, it's got to, because it's so much of it. And then on the land, it's the landfills. It's in California, and I'll share it with you on the next TikTok this afternoon. California, Arizona, they have laid out, in that area, they've laid out literally, I don't know, I think it's 27 miles. 27 miles for garbage to be dumped in. Not to build a sanitation hub, not to build a recycling center or a city to recycle, but to dump it. So I would say at 27 miles would be much better used, right? To be building and employing people to, in real time, to be able to process this. And, they can get the right technology so people can have jobs without wearing themselves out to, out. But anyway, so I want to get on here and share with you about these 4 types of aliens now officially identified by the government. They have yet to kind of share pictures with us, right? The evidence of, because they have the pictures. I mean, if they're identifying them to such in detail. So, but the insectoids really bother me. I am shocked that there are those. Now, those were the ones in, that kind of looked, the ones in that incident in Florida, the Florida mall. Remember that? I think it was last year, a couple years ago. They had, they don't know if that was a hoax either. It's so odd how you get all this mixed info. The people who were there were scared to death. They were running out of that mall. They weren't just seeing someone in a mask. They were seeing something they believed was an absolute danger to them. And the ones who were close enough described them kind of like that, like, like they were hooded or something. You kind of got the feeling that they were like an insectoid. I don't know. I haven't seen any, so let's hope I don't. So, anyway, if I do, I'll share. Make sure I get a picture. The closest thing we ever came to a UFO was actually, we saw one, 4 of us, when I was in college, 4 of us saw one outside the window. It had 3 red, green, and white, something like that, flashing round. And it was in the late 70s, maybe 1980, 79, 80, around there. But looking back at it, like, to me, it could have been man-made. I'm just saying, it was round disc, but it was there and then it was gone. And that was the weird part. It was there and then it kind of moved away slow and then boom, just gone. And in the morning, though, the big news in that town was the Civic Center roof that was just built was collapsed in, and all of us noted that it was perfectly round. So we didn't know if it like landed on there or something happened, but we don't know, because guess what? It was never in the paper. And this thing was as big as life. You know, it was as big as life, as big as a building or whatever, and other people should have seen it. But it was never in the paper. So that was my only experience. Nothing weird or anything like that happened before or after any of it. So I don't know, but 3 of my other friends saw that too. So, but anyway, with that, I will get ready to share with you the next segment that I will be, because I want to get, if TikTok really goes away, if it really is banned, I want to utilize, let me see, Novia, it says, it's crazy how we're not the only species alive. It's scary since we're not alone. I mean, really? Knows a lot of information about aliens but keeps it hidden. Yeah, I think so. That's exactly, I mean, it becomes more and more apparent, because you don't have, it's just like if you yourself or your mom or somebody close to you who you totally trust and absolutely know is, you know, functioning on all levels well. Okay. And they say to you, they saw this craft in front of their car, you know, and they lost time. You would absolutely believe them, and you'd want to investigate that and find out what happened. You know what I mean? You'd want to know. So I think yeah, they need to be very transparent with us. And I think people can handle it, and people might be a little shocked. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would not want to see an insectoid or reptilian. That scares me. The Nordic and the Greys, you understand, are calm and peaceful, but we don't know. They don't really talk about the reptilians and the insectoids unless any of you know about those, the behaviors of them. But even then, if they have a behavior that is not conducive to mankind, we should know about it. And, you know, when you think about it, our lifespan is very short, okay? And got shorter even with COVID, right? It got shorter even with COVID. So mankind will live typically 65, 70. You hit the 60s and things start to really, really, really happen. But typically you get people into their 80s. You get people living well into their 80s. And now you have a lot of centenarians into their hundreds. So I'm not sure what the new average is, but it's probably around 80. So, but with that, that's not long, you know? I mean, it's not long, especially when you and I are best years contributing to the community and to the knowledge of our society is between, you know, it's ideally between 25 and 40, ideally. And you may go, yes, longer, but this is when your brain is fully developed at 25, and then you are at your highest of your intellectual capabilities, exercising it, motivation, all of it, right into about 40. I would say I really disagree with 40. I feel like it goes more into the 40s a little bit. But the reason they say 40 is because you begin hormone shifts. Whether you're male or female, the body starts to shift, okay? Everything's changing chemically in you. So that can affect your thinking, your energy, and, you know, all of that. So, but, you know, what I'm saying is that we contribute a very short time of our knowledge and our perspectives. And it takes us a long time, it seems, for the human race to gain any kind of wisdom and to learn anything really that is a life lesson, right? Yeah, thank you, Navia. Bye. And oh, I like Kat's join. Hi, how are you? Yeah, we're just right at the end of this. I just went through the article, so you can listen to it again. But guess what? Hi, how are you? I'm going to be jumping back on here um, in a very little bit, talking about the endangered species, the ones that are coming back. Um, they're kind of bouncing back a tiny bit, and then talk to you about the number of them that are actually right now endangered and what that number is going to be looking like overall. So with that, I'm going to get off. I'm going to heat up my coffee, make sure I have enough of my voice left to come back. I love talking about the aliens. I hope that if any of us see one, that we're not too quick to, react. Maybe start backing up and leave, okay? but not to assume that it's extremely dangerous, because unless it really looks dangerous, then run. don't walk. Okay, so I'll see you in the next one, and thank you so much for being with me.